Good. Well, things have gone, okay. We went inside today because it's getting a little hot outside, and I think that, sometimes when we practice like we practice, that we can wear our team out a little bit. So on occasion, it ended up raining anyway. I don't know how it was raining. The sun seemed like it was shining, but I think the biggest challenge that we have is, a challenge to maintain intensity. If you're a 10-point scorer and you average 10 points a game in basketball, and then all of a sudden you play in a big game and you score 25 points, I guess the next game you play, you got a choice to make. Are you a 25-point scorer or are you a 10-point scorer? You're going to be a 10-point scorer, you're going to be a 25-point scorer. In golf, they call it a handicap. Are you really, is that the kind of golfer you are, or is that just what you think you can play to? So it's called standard of excellence, maintaining a standard, and how you play. And, I think good is the enemy of being great, because, people sort of get satisfied and don't stick with the standard of what you want to do to what you want to accomplish, what your goals are, and all that kind of stuff. So we have a choice. Arkansas is a really good team. We have a lot of respect for them. They lost to Texas A&M in overtime and had opportunities in the game to win, and that's a top 10 team in the country. So I view them as a top 10 team in the country, and they're a very physical team. They're very well coached, and we're going to have to play very physical as well as do a great job in terms of our execution to be able to be successful against them, and that's what we're going to continue to focus on throughout the rest of the week.
Mark right here.
Their quarterback, Brandon Allen, has played a lot of football and brought a lot of balance to their offense. What did you see from him?
Well, he's a very good player. He's a good passer. He's accurate. He makes good decisions. He makes plays with his feet. He's a good scrambler. He extends plays to throw, as well as, is athletic enough to take off and run and make a first down. So I think he has really, really, each year he has gotten better and better and better, and I think he's playing extremely well, for him this year.
Middle, Michael.
Have you been an advocate of adding an extra assistant coach to on-field duties so you can have a specific special teams coach?
No doubt. I'd love it. I think it'd be great. I think that having a 10th coach so that you could have 9 assistants and a special teams coach would be a real asset to the players and to the staff. So, hopefully someday that, we'll be able to do that. I like the idea of having 4 GAs, so sometimes when we add something we think we've got to subtract something else, but I wouldn't be for that because it creates a lot of young opportunities for young people to sort of be able to develop in the business. I probably would have never been a coach if I wasn't asked to be a graduate assistant by Don James at Kent State, after my senior year. I had no intentions of being a coach, and he asked me to stick around. Terry had another year of school, so, I did. I'd have never got an opportunity, so I don't think that's much cost savings relative to the big picture.
Cecil.
Coach, sometimes you talk about having to grind out a game. Last year's Arkansas game certainly was like that. And is that style of play just the way you play, or was that where Blake was as a quarterback? What do you?
Well, I think that's the kind of team that they have. I mean, they run the ball really effectively. They play physical. They were very, very good up front on defense. They're still good up front on defense. They're still good on defense. They've got a lot of the 9 starters back on offense, so they got a lot of the same players. Very good offensive line, big physical guys. So that's the kind of game that you have to play. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They don't turn the ball over a lot. And you got to be able to, possess the ball against them in terms of, I think they only give up like 3 yards a carry or something rushing. I mean, they do a really good job, or that's what they've done in the last couple games. So, it's a tough game. It's going to be a tough physical game.
Over here, there.
What kind of maturity have you seen from Shank, particularly since he's been in the program, and especially last year when he lost out that starting right guard spot to Leon?
Well, Shank has gotten better and better every year. I think it starts with his maturity and his approach in terms of how he prepares and how he's learned how to pay attention to detail. He's always been a very powerful guy, good run blocker, but balanced body control, pass protection, those kind of things is what, he needed to work on. And as he's gotten older, he's realized that he has to do things a certain way to be successful. He's certainly matured as a competitor, very physical, loves to play, and he's done a really nice job for us so far this year.
Far side, Matt.
And Nick, two questions. Actually, the first one is a guard-related question also. So Ross Piersbacher, during the course of the season, I realized the other day that hasn't really stuck out that much from my perspective, which is probably a good thing as far as an offensive lineman. Just how has he played during the first 5 games?
You mean you really watch the offensive line?
I tried.
You don't watch the ball like everybody else? Just look at the ball all the time, see where the ball goes? You really watch the offensive line.
No, I said he hasn't stuck out.
I mean,
So
I
obviously
know
I'm not
lots of
watching the
coaches that
offensive
can't
line.
watch the offensive line. If you ask them to watch the offensive line, they can't because they look at the ball all the time. Everybody that watches the game looks at the ball all the time. So now we're evaluating the right guard. He's done a nice job for us. He's a young player. He's, blocks well. He's probably been, he and the center have probably been the two most consistent guys in terms of doing what they're supposed to do. So if you stick out, does that mean you have to mess up? Is that what we're saying? Or are we saying he's done really well, so that means I don't get it?
It means that he's done well. Not sticking out is probably a good thing as far as offensive line. That's what I was trying to say.
Well, I think I would agree with that.
Cool. And second question is somebody who it's easier to track. So Adam Griffith has done well during the course of the last couple of games. Just how much more confident have you seen him just based on how he's done?
Well, I think that, we've always had confidence in Griff. I think, early in the season he struggled a little bit, but I think he needed to make some kicks. He's made some. It's going to be the same thing, the same challenge for him as it is for all of us, is to maintain the kind of consistency that you want. A reputation and identity it's all continuous. It's not a sometimes thing. It's not every now and then. It's not up and down. It's not one game and not the next. So that's the challenge that we all have, and I think it's a choice we all got to make. I know he's worked hard, and he seems to be pretty confident right now, and hopefully that'll be a positive for him. But even when he wasn't making the field goals, he was doing a really good job kicking off, placing the ball where we want it placed. Had a tremendous onside kick, and was doing a lot of the other things that we need him to do very well. So I'm glad that the field goal kicking, which is a very important part of what he does, he seems to be more confident in right now.
You mentioned Arkansas's offensive line, just how big and physical. I mean, several guys over 325. How important is it to create pressure against a line like that, especially in a game like this?
Well, I think it's always important to create pressure. We didn't have a lot of success last year pressuring them. We got pressure on the quarterback, but we never got him on the ground much. And he completed the ball because we didn't do a very good job of covering him. So I think, you got to pick your spots. And I think when you have to take and try to rush extra guys, which we've done quite a bit around here in the past, you better have some really good cover people. And, with schemes that people have now running crossing routes and pick routes and things like that, it's very difficult playing cat coverage against somebody. So, it's always important to be able to affect the quarterback with 4 guys rushing. And, they're in 6-man protection a lot. So, it makes it more difficult. And they do a good job. They got a good scheme. They're really well coached, and they do a good job. So they haven't given up a lot. But I think the quarterback has done a good job of getting rid of the ball, as well as extending plays to make plays scrambling, as well as making first downs when things break down for him. His athleticism has really helped them.
Two more. Start with John.
Nick, O.J. Howard's, I think he said multiple times over preseason how he's kind of trying to work on his blocking skills, and it seemed like that was on display against Georgia. Just kind of what have you seen from his growth in that area, and how does that help, I guess, in another kind of smash mouth game like Arkansas?
Well, we need our tight ends to be able to to block. I think, people say, we want to run the ball, we want to run the ball, we want to be a physical team. Well, that's hard to do when you don't have a tight end that can block effectively. I think OJ has improved in that area. I think we need to get more out of our tight ends in terms of that. I think it would help us be more effective. Brandon Green played some tight end, last week, which gives us a big physical guy who also did that last year. And, we're going to continue to do some of those things to try to be able to run the ball effectively. And, but OJ has done a nice job for us.
Last one right here with the CW.
With Arkansas, it's the school's homecoming game. As a coach, what does that mean for you in the program?
Well, I think, homecoming is a great tradition that we have a lot of respect for. It's an opportunity for people who have great memories and a lot of pride in their school to come back and revisit friends and relationships and memories. And, the football game is a great rallying point for all that. I think, the players sort of understand that it's important to a lot of people, and I'm sure they'd like to play well, because of that. I certainly have a lot of respect for the traditions of homecoming, and a lot of players that we're recruiting are having homecomings now. And one of the questions I always ask is, do they have a date? And I didn't have much luck in high school, and ended up picking wrong, a few times, homecoming and prom, and it still haunts me to this day.
Thanks, Coach.
I think Miss Terry's in Florida, so maybe she won't hear that.